They say when you point a finger, three is pointing right back at you. That's why I point my thumb too. Bam, bam, bam. Straight up. But all seriousness, they say three is pointing right back at you. I plan to expose a certain arm of our society. One of the most honest arms of our society. Straight up. Because in my book, it's really four primary arms of our society. And three of them I really made videos about. Our government, the business sector, our religious sector, and the street element. The street element I haven't spoke on because I guess it's the one that I knew the first, and I knew most deeply. This is the foundation for the elevation station. My name is Leon Meredith, and I'm born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio. And when I speak of the street element, I had been selling drugs in my life since the age of 14. Not consecutively, and I did not continue. And it has been many years since I have sold anything. Over 12 years. I grew up, it was the thing to do to get some extra leverage to get the things you may need within your household. And it happens so abundantly in my community that it takes on an aura of fairness. You know, it's a certain mindset that's put out saying that this is acceptable because we're not forcing anyone to do it. We make it available, and sometimes your conscience comes to play, or mine had, when a lady is selling her body to obtain these drugs, to sell her body all day, weeks on end, and to actually visually see her lose weight and shrivel up and lips messed up, and how her former self is only an image of the past. It was very hurtful to me, and that's why so many times I quit selling drugs in my life, only to return, several times throughout the years. It was always the travesty that it did to women that hurt my heart. I never misused women. I always, approached the situation from an angle of respect, an angle of love. Even when I was in the streets, when I was 18, 19, I used to hang we had Jamaicans real tough, and they was as close to my persona that I could find. And so I hung with them a lot of years. I guess it was helping me build my will, because I got shot in the spine, so I was kind of a weakened man for some years. I wasn't a coward, but I wasn't brash and forthright like I really am. So it's 2.5, 3 years, because I was operating with a handicap, so I just didn't go to battle like I should have. So from 1995 to 1997, 98, I was just a shell of the man that I was. I wasn't me. And during that time, I was was building my wheel, I used to roll with some Jamaicans, and I seen a lot of things in the drug and the street game. I started to see the military, the special forces connections with the street game, with the drug, the actual products. I ain't gonna scream no name because they still have connections here. The Jamaicans, I see a couple of them here and there. They 20 years strong, and a lot of them, they know me. And peace up, everybody. It's a lot of, it's more than a few guys that have stood the test of time that are millionaires in our city that specifically know me. Like then, I would see like barrels of narcotics come in at the time. It's 19, it's way back then, 1995, 6, and it was weed, cane. It was all in big barrels like Donkey Kong, and sometimes it was just like a movie, bricks or whatnot. And sometimes they would unpack and put other chemicals on all the drugs, and would say, they were directed to do it. And some of them that was doing, they couldn't talk to fluently, but they trusted me wholeheartedly because they knew I was real, and they would, put other mysterious chemicals and, let it dry out overnight, and they would just like motion and tell me it would make it more potent. And then some they would get, and I estimate it already had certain things that was in the drugs, and they was like directed to give them to certain people. And I was so young, and again, I didn't really understand it, but after I elevated and got older, I see what was going on, because several times I would see the connection or see like military type of, weaponry or clothing. I would see it that they was like a professional person. And I start seeing this with other people of the street element, street code. And I would see that they would get orders also from mysterious connections on what to do, how to do, where to go pick something up at. And it was obvious directions. And at one point I was arrested in a federal operation. They wrapped us up in what they call it, a conspiracy. And although I was on a conspiracy when, I didn't buy or sell but from one person on like a 50, 60, 70 person indictment, somehow they just like put our whole neighborhood in the conspiracy. And when I was arrested, I went and I was in the county waiting to have the little hearings or whatnot, and the lawyer had came to see me, and he like handed me a paper. It was called a proffer. The proffer said basically tell us everything we can't use nothing against you, and we gonna give you a thumbs up for giving us whatever information we get from you. I'm like, to me, because I always knew words, and my cognitive ability, I was able. So I'm like putting the words together. I'm like, man, this is a sham. So I tell my lawyer, he like, yeah, it's BS, isn't it? I'm like, man, get on out of here with that. I'm not talking with them people about that. So like 3-4 days later, they come and just let me out and get me in handcuffs and put me on the van and take me to the room. And they got pictures, and I'm like, man, look, man, what am I down here for? They like, hey, man, it's for the proffer. I'm like, nah, I already did sign the paper. What y'all doing? I'm like, my lawyer ain't even here. So he get on the phone, call my lawyer. They're like, man, I forgot to tell you, man. I can hear him. He doesn't want to sign, man. He knows words, man. So I hear him on the phone. So the prosecutor, like, he look at me and say, you're not going to come. Like, man, them all people I grew up with. What else you want to know? I'm not finna sit down and talk to you about nothing that got to do with nothing. So they send me out of there. So they send me back, and they put me in the wrong part. And I tell one of my brothers, somebody I knew, well, somebody that knew me from my neighborhood, he used to tell me, he was like, man, we used to always watch you and try to, rob you and stuff. Like, man, you a real dude. So he was telling me that. I told him, he was like, yeah, I could see how real you are, because you ain't even want to talk to them. And he told me, he like, look, man, I got 35533 something in my paperwork, and if I gotta go to court, I'm going to court on these dudes. Ain't nobody taking care of my family. And he told me a whole story about him and this dude that just bought a big nightclub in our city, and how him and the dude, they was like what we would call snitches or whatnot. But I always respected him for keeping it real. So I start seeing them guys get right back like out on the street, and they would like get payments and get leverage to keep dealing and turning people in. I'm like, wow. And it's like a connection to up above, how every element of our society is geared in a way to like deceive and use people. So what do all righteous people do? Just get ran over? Like, is this why I was always left with retreating into isolation? Because at every stage and angle, people just want to use me. Oh, y'all wouldn't believe, I ain't gonna talk about it. Like what's been going on in my life. I am an extraordinary person, and maybe one day I'll say some details. But anyway, you have to watch out and stay vigilant from everyone. We clearly must know the people we are affiliated with and who they are talking to. It's a lot of technology, a lot of things that's going on. Even if all the electricity went out today, some people have their orders to do their orders against other people that's in their lane and out of their lane. It's geared for us to not just be against each other, but to make sure like many crabs stay in the barrel. It is like so technically, intellectually complex of like how deep it goes, and it's only one way to combat it all. Find the common ground and leave the rest in the background. If I say I'm like, why would I come to try to connect with everybody and say, hey man, I'm a businessman. We trying to love. Let's leave that business thing back there. What's our common ground? Man, I'm an Islam and I believe in the spiritual, how could we put that in the forefront when we trying to build a foundation for us? We got to leave our individualist thoughts and different things that we believe in and we carry as tradition. We got to leave it behind us, because it ain't true anyway. We got all these documents and good books and stuff that's really not true. And how we gonna go forward when we can't find a common ground? We cannot. The solution is leave our teachings, leave leave these things behind us or set them down for a minute and come to the table and let's find this common ground. What we got? We got to figure out how to sustain a way of life, sustain food, sustain the necessities we need. Separating our needs from wants. We got a whole lot of wants. And us black people got more wants than everybody. And just specifically, sisters. Sisters got more wants and spend more money than anybody on the planet. We do. I mean, you can look at it. And God forgive me, but man, we got about, I'll just give it 20 million ladies. How do 20 million black ladies spend more money than any other group of people on the planet? More than 220 million Caucasian people. How do sisters spend more money than that group? More money than 1.5 billion with a B as in boy Chinese people. So one thing that ladies admit, this video going some other way, but I guess I got to. This is why men and women, we come together under these new dating criteria. Men make the company. Women support the man. You watch over, make sure you know this, and cut your money, give your money, give whatever portion to the man. He flip it, do what it do. He creating a substantiated foundation for your family, for your community. Ladies, you alone. You want love. Find you a soldier. Find you God's soldiers. All you ladies that have sacrificed so much and built up so much money. Sacrifice your attractiveness. Yeah, you have. Maybe I'll make a video about it. Yeah, I'm gonna make it right now. Y'all have. You just sacrificed it. Because many of you ladies, and I know we have came to say, hey, woman is beautiful, big is beautiful, and you get all these little trinkets and eye candy and makeup and stuff and to help you look better. But the truth is, you take off that makeup, you take off them tight clothes, crushing your organs. Now, I love you, sisters. We got to work together. And I'd like to end this video, for real, especially to my sisters, by quoting a great man. His name is Drake. I don't know his real name, but he said, you gotta work with the negatives to make a better picture. So everybody affiliated with the street element, I made this video so you can clearly understand that just because you have broken the law and walked that side, this is an arm of the total collective. You get it? It's not good versus evil. It's not this and that and the other. The street element, drug element is a part of everything. It is a part of the automotive industry. They have teams going out breaking windshields, stealing cars, and listen, this thing runs deep. We just don't understand enough. And I am here to give enlightenment. And we got to find common ground. Because guess what? Them Jews, them Caucasian folks, everybody, they done found common ground. So all us regular people, even people making 100,000, we got to make a better effort to work together. We got to work together, especially on this dating thing. We got to make marriages. We got to make bonds so we can build. And ladies, don't forget about a man's wants. I love you. Peace.